the Yankees split with the Oakland A's. 4-game series at Oakland, and the Yankees win the first two and lose the next two. Um, Pretty pathetic, honestly, where the Yankees offense was completely shut down against, just league worst pitching. There's no other way around it. Adam Oller, who had just dreadful numbers. One hits the Yankees through 8 innings. You just can't let that happen. And then Adrian Martinez, another pitcher who comes in with really, really bad statistics. He does a really good job against the Yanks. So where the Yankees kind of had some momentum, built it up to a 5-game winning streak and came very, very close to a 6-game winning streak. Now, you leave Oakland with a bad taste in your mouth. So that's kind of how things can change so quickly. Is as bad as, as I felt like the series ended up, Yankees could have very easily found themselves in a 6-game winning streak going into the last game of the series. Didn't work out that way. And look, it kind of just at this point is what it is. And there's definitely some phantom IL stuff going on to an extent. We found out that Nestor Cortez was hitting the IL with a groin injury. Now, yeah, he probably does have some groin ailment to some extent, but like if this was in late September, playoffs, October, whatever the case might be, I don't think Nestor Cortez would be going on the IL. So look, it's sensible in the fact that you want to keep Cortez fresh. I mean, he's definitely thrown a lot more innings than he ever has. So I agree with it from that standpoint, but like the Yankees that's more important right now. And again, like I can understand that, but what that leads you to is, for example, Clark Schmidt starting and struggling. And who knows? With the Yankees being unable to hit anyway, it doesn't really matter all that much. But yeah, that's what you're starting off with right now. And Clark Schmidt, who I like, but the way he pitched in that Met game, it was a bit smoke and mirrors, where the final stat line from like an earned run standpoint looked good, but his inability to close it out and just, what was it, 3 walks, no strikeouts, I think is what it ended, in 3 innings. So I think with Clark Schmidt, I like him out of the pen. Do I trust him as a starter? No. And look, like, he had 7 strikeouts he didn't go deep, but he ends up with 7 strikeouts in like 4+ innings. So like that's a good stat right there. But against Oakland, it really wasn't very good for Clark Schmidt. So it's a small piece of the conversation, but I do think that he, certainly ideally is not in your rotation. He's a good sort of depth piece, and that's what he is for now. But in terms of, there was probably a time, when you think about who's in the rotation, right? Domingo Hermann has asserted himself as a definite guy in this rotation. And I think if we had spoke about it 3-4 weeks ago, it's like, oh, well, Clark Schmidt is maybe better than Hermann. I think we need to retract that right now. And Hermann is kind of a staple in that rotation currently, right? And Schmidt, he'll be out of there when Cortez returns. So with Cortez going on the IL, Greg Weisser made his major league debut. He was the closer for Scranton, local kid from Long Island. It's kind of like almost like a Ron Marinaccio situation where, for a rookie, he's not that young. He's probably about 27 years old, which in baseball terms is young, but just for a rookie, it took him a while. He's been in the Yankee system, and good for him. And I felt bad that it was a pretty ugly, major league debut for Weisser. In the game the Yankees won 13-4, Weisser just couldn't find the plate. It was bad, but the Yankees, his teammates, they comforted him. They made him, I like that. They didn't make him, sort of sit there by himself. It happens. It was a bad first outing. And look, he looked pretty good in the second outing. So I think with Weisser, it's a wait and see. We'll see how it goes. And in terms of other transactions, I think it was Cortez out, Weisser in, and I think the only other one, if memory serves now, again, remember that Giancarlo Stanton made his return, and Florial, which I believe we spoke about in that Met episode, Florial got sent down, Stanton up. And on the pitching side, Aroldis Chapman, in just a ridiculous story, going on the IL, a tattoo infection on his leg. Now, the interesting thing with Chapman was he basically wasn't pitching anyway. It got to the point where he was basically in timeout, and Chapman was not really part of the mix. So it really doesn't mean a whole lot other than just being one of those stories you don't really hear too often, but Aroldis Chapman, weird things happen with him, and so that's just another thing. So the Yankees, Anthony Banda, lefty, is on the roster now. Banda pitched today. I would expect him to now be off the roster when Clay Holmes returns tomorrow. So I think Clay Holmes will be activated for this Angels series. So you'd expect Banda off, in all likelihood, Holmes on. So that's kind of the transactions. Another minor move that was made that really slipped through the cracks. Chasen Shreve is now back on the Yankee organization. He was signed to a minor league contract. So you might see Chasen Shreve in September. We'll see, but crazier things have happened. So weirdly enough, Tyler Wade and Chasen Shreve are kind of going to be in Scranton. Players that were kind of on the Yankees on and off for quite some time, within the past 5-6 years. But yeah, really, game one was promising. I'm not going to lie to you. Game one was promising, where the Yankees scored 13 runs on 20 hits, no homers, no home runs. So this was not like a home run dependency thing. And in this one, DJ LeMahieu would see the bench. And DJ LeMahieu, it has been a major struggle. And if we want to make the excuse about the toe injury, that's fair. Maybe that's the case, right? Maybe there is an issue there that needs to be really solved. But if we're going to go under the pretense that, if you play like you play and there's no excuses, DJ LeMahieu has not been good. I mean, there was a time a few weeks ago where I think he was approaching 300. He was certainly well within the 290s. Now, by series end, I think he's in the low 270s. So for DJ, and then there was a defensive miscue as well. In really a devastating loss. Game 3 was a devastating loss as far as I'm concerned. Just really bad and shouldn't have happened. But so LeMahieu, it's been bad. So he didn't play game 1. But like I said, Stanton returns. And it's interesting. They have Giancarlo Stanton batting third. So Judge second, Stanton third. I don't think they're going to stick with that, though. I think that's Rizzo's batting fourth. Benintendi bats first versus righties. LeMahieu bats first versus lefties. So we've seen a lot of Benintendi at the top. Like I said, Stanton batting third. I don't think that will stay. So the lineup's kind of in flux. Definitely. But, game 1, Jameson Taillon, it wasn't pretty, but yet it's 6 innings of 1-run ball for Taillon. So, Jameson Taillon, he's been better of late. And James Kaprielian, the former Yankee, really got, it was ugly. Kaprielian really did not pitch well. For the Yankees, this was a really good game. We've seen this sometimes where it almost reminds you of the Mariners series, where the Mariners, they jump out to a really impressive game 1 win. The offense sort of scores a lot of runs, and then they really fizzle out completely. So this ends up being an outlier, and that's disappointing. So, look, this series got worse and worse, but game 1 was good. And let's just go through it quickly. Game 1, second inning, you get a bases loaded, 2-run single by Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, and that's kind of his specialty, is bases loaded. You kind of want him up there in those situations. And Kiner-Falefa, there is, certainly struggles with him offensively that are frustrating, but he is good in those spots, and he makes it 2-0 Yanks right there. Then Giancarlo Stanton returns and comes through in game 1 with a 2-run single himself, makes it 4-0 Yanks. The Yankees would score 4 more in the third. You get an RBI double by the former athletic Josh Donaldson, makes it 5-0. A sac fly by Benintendi makes it 6-0. A bases loaded walk by Giancarlo Stanton makes it 7-0. And then an RBI single by Rizzo makes it 8-0. So really just pouring it on. And the Yankees make it 10-0 in the fourth. It is an RBI double by Trevino and an RBI ground up by Aaron Judge. Makes it 10-0 Yanks. Taillon would give up a home run to Shea Langoliers, the rookie. Makes it 10-1. Then in the 7th, the Yankees extend that lead as you get a 2-run double by Josh Donaldson and an RBI double by Oswaldo Cabrera. And Oswaldo Cabrera has been really one of the bright spots. He is an everyday guy, mainly in right field, but we did see Cabrera play shortstop. And that might be a thing where Kiner-Falefa maybe does get the odd day off where Cabrera plays short. But for now, with the outfield being thin, Cabrera is kind of your everyday right fielder, and deservedly so. He's really, I like what I see. Will it last? Your guess is as good as mine. But for Oswaldo Cabrera, the call-up has been successful. He's versatile, and he's really been, like I said, one of the bright spots on this team since he's been called up. So that makes it 13-1. And then in the 7th, Greg Weisser comes on, and it's a struggle. It's a definite struggle. There's a hit by pitch. There's a hit by pitch. There's a balk. Then there's another hit by pitch. A flyout, a walk, and a walk. Like, really, really ugly. Nerves probably got the best to him, and that's understandable. And that happened. So Licky then finishes out the inning. There's a hit by pitch, another one, that scores a run. And there's a RBI single by Langoliers that makes it 13-4. That'd be your final score. A position player would come on for Oakland. Sheldon Noisy actually pitched well. I think he went 5 up, 5 down against the Yanks. And for the Yankees, Lucas Licky would finish it out. So Licky ends up going 2 2/3. Pretty good job by him. He's really good. When the score is lopsided, Licky's very good. And so the Yankees win this one 13-4. So things are feeling good. And I'd say things were feeling pretty good going into game 2 as well. In game 2 as well for the most part, but things did get close. Carrick Cole versus Jp Sears, the former Yankee Jp Sears, who's been pretty good for Oakland. Struggled in this one, makes one big mistake though. Like Sears has been I've noticed he gets into trouble, but he's good at kind of wiggling through. Like, I don't know if Sears, like, the underlying stats aren't great for Jp Sears, but there is this sort of innate ability to kind of survive. But Sears makes one fatal mistake to Aaron Judge. But Carrick Cole was just brilliant. Goes 7 1/3 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 11 strikeouts. So Carrick Cole really on his game, and he's been good lately. So Carrick Cole, there are times when he is, top of the line, as you hope he'd be. And so Cole pitches really well in this one. Anthony Rizzo versus the lefty is out. And LeMahieu back in. And really, let's just jump to the 5th. You get a leadoff single by Oswaldo Cabrera, a single by DJ LeMahieu, and a 3-run homer by Aaron Judge. So Judge hits his 49th homer of the year, and that would be the offense. A 3-run homer by Judge. So now he's 1 away from 50. We'll see if he can do it against the Angels. But Cole does give up a home run to Jonah Bride. So Jonah Bride's first career home run off of Carrick Cole. That's impressive. And it makes it 3-1. Cole pitches into the 8th. And I should mention that in the 8th, Jose Trevino is hit by a pitch. Similar sort of scary situation like Matt Carpenter. However, it sounds like he'll be okay. Trevino would stay in the game after the hit by pitch, but he would leave Higashioka replace him, and we wouldn't see Trevino for the rest of the Oakland series. But he's still on the active roster, and so I think the hope is that with a little bit of rest, he'll be okay. That would be big. You cannot lose Jose Trevino. He is that important. But I think the Yankees dodged a bullet there, luckily. Anyway, Carrick Cole, gives up a leadoff single to Nick Allen. Then Tony Kemp flies out, and Jonathan Loaisiga comes on, and Loaisiga was a bright spot in the series. So Jonathan Loaisiga, he is creeping back up that depth chart in the bullpen. The pecking order, Loaisiga's up there. Like, maybe even crazy. I mean, right now, he might be number 1. Like, if you really think about it, Loaisiga might be your number 1 guy at the moment. That's subject to change, of course, but Loaisiga finishes out the 8th inning. And then in the 9th, they bring on Wandy Peralta, which I thought was a kind of an interesting move. And Wandy gets into a little bit of trouble, but in classic Wandy fashion, does get the job done when things started to get really interesting. It's a 1-out double for Chad Pinder, and then an RBI single for Garcia. Makes it 3-2, but then he strikes out Jonah Bride and he strikes out David McKinnon. So once it really got tight, Peralta gets the save. So Yankees win it. And at that point, they won't lose the series, but you think, all right, will the Yankees win all 4 or will they win 3 out of 4? Neither. They end up losing Saturday and Sunday. Just awful. Really, really bad stuff. So Saturday is a pitcher's duel. Domingo, Hermann, and Adam Oller. And it never should have been. I mean, Adam Oller, like I said, had really bad numbers. Well, I will say this. Oller pitched at Yankee Stadium in relief earlier this year, and I think he pitched pretty well. So there was that small caveat. Now, in Game 3, you would see Giancarlo Stanton on the bench. So Giancarlo Stanton would sit out Game 3, as well as Jose Trevino. And the Yankees would get 1 hit in 11 innings. That's a franchise record. That's a franchise low. 1 hit in 11 innings. I guess, I forget what the exact stat was, but I guess maybe in an 11-inning game, must have been either extra innings or an 11-inning game only getting 1 hit. That's, because normally, and the reason for this is when you get 1 hit, usually it ends in 9 innings. Luckily, Oakland didn't do anything offensively, but the Yankees still lose the game. And this one really hurt. I say we jump, I guess let's jump to the 8th. And there were base running blunders in this one. This had feels of Yankees Mariners in that game where the Yankees lost in what, the 12th inning? No, maybe 13th inning. Where the Yankees didn't score, there was base running blunders. It had that feel, absolutely. And in the 8th inning, Hermann gets into some trouble, and he pitched really well. I mean, Oller and Hermann had no hitters, into like the 5th or 6th. And Hermann gives up a double with 1 out, but with 2 outs, Weisser comes on and he gets Tony Kemp to ground out. So good job by Jonathan Weisser right there. Then in the 9th, Weisser gives up a 1-out single to Sean Murphy, and they bring on Ron Marinaccio. And Marinaccio is able to get the job done in the 9th. We go to the 10th. And in the 10th, AJ Puk is the reason the Yankees scored 2 runs, plain and simple. Benintendi with a really bad bunt. I'm not sure if he did this on his own. I think he might have done it on his own. He bunts it right back to the pitcher, Puk, who throws to third, and they get Higashioka out at third. So no advance. And Higashioka's out. Then Aaron Judge strikes out, and Benintendi's still second. Then Puk intentionally walks Donaldson. He hits Rizzo, and with the bases loaded, Puk was throwing crazy pitches that Sean Murphy was stopping. But eventually, Murphy was not able to stop them anymore. It's a wild pitch by Puk, which scores not 1, but 2 runs. Benintendi scores, and then Donaldson. And the Yankees take a 2-0 lead. Then LeMahieu walks. So it's first and third, 2 out, and Gleyber Torres. And Gleyber Torres is just terrible in the clutch. With runners in scoring position, Gleyber Torres does not come through. And that's one of the big frustrating things for me about Gleyber, is that the guy just, in the big moments, like, there was a time in his career where he was good in the big spots. It's just not that way anymore. And so the lead stays 2-0. But you're thinking, all right, 2-0 against Oakland. Yankees should find a way to close it out, and they don't. Ron Marinaccio is in the 10th. He gets the ground. He gets the ground at the start. Gets grounded at the start. Remember, there's a runner on second to begin with, so the time runs up, and he makes a little mistake to Stephen Vogt, and Stephen Vogt hits it out. So the veteran, who really at this stage in his career, he's not very good, but we know that he can hit home runs, and he does it, and that was devastating. And Marinaccio, who hasn't made many mistakes this year, makes a big one, and it makes it 2-2. And Lou Trevino, the former Oakland A, comes on and cleans up the end of it. It got dicey. Marinaccio was not able to finish the inning. Trevino does end the 10th. We go to the 11th, and the Yankees don't score. And that leads to trouble. Bottom of the 11th, Sean Murphy walks, which is totally fine in that situation. That absolutely fine. And Trevino gets Seth Brown to fly out, even better. And here it sets the stage for first and second one out. Chad Pinder hits a potential double play. It was hit slowly, and so the runner from first was right on LeMahieu at second. So Connor Falefa gets the ground ball, throws to LeMahieu, he gets the out at second, but LeMahieu throws a little bit off, and Anthony Rizzo is unable to stop it. And so Anthony Rizzo deserves some blame there. LeMahieu, it's a throwing error on LeMahieu, but Rizzo's got to just either he's either got to make the play or get off the bag. You cannot allow that to go by you. And so the winning run stores. And so a really devastating, just ugly, bad loss. Yeah, but the Yankees deserve to lose. They deserve to lose that game. And so the Yankees, right there, that they lose. 5-game winning streak over at that point. So now let's head to the last game. And it's Clarke Schmidt versus Adrian Martinez. And Clarke Schmidt struggled. Now in this one, Kiner-Falefa on the bench. Cabrera plays short as well. Gleyber Torres on the bench. And Aaron Hicks is in center field. So Hicks does play. And actually, Aaron Hicks, if you're looking at it, Aaron Hicks was probably your most successful player in this game. He got a hit. He got a walk. He scored a run. So he was not the issue. But Clark Schmidt struggles early. In the first, he gives up a couple of runs, an RBI double by Stephen Vogt, an RBI single by Garcia, makes it 2-0. In the third, it's a RBI single Tony Kemp and an RBI single for Garcia again, makes it 4-0 Oakland. And then in the fifth inning, you get an RBI single by Kyle Higashioka. The Yankees were no hit going into that fifth inning, just a fucking complete joke. And then Anthony Banda, the new Yankee, finishes out the fifth as Clark Schmidt came out during the fifth inning. Like I said, had 7 strikeouts, 4 1/3 innings pitched. Banda, let's talk about this. Sixth inning, the Yankees have one of their best chances. 1-out single by Giancarlo Stanton. They take out Martinez. They bring in the lefty Maul. And Rizzo singles, but it should have been a double. And if I'm Anthony Rizzo, I'm running out of the box and not even looking. Put head down and go. So Anthony Rizzo, who's a savvy veteran, just go, run. And so what's happening is he's looking at the ball and he trips over first base. That's essentially what happens. And so what should have been a double is a single. And then to make matters worse, DJ LeMahieu, who has been absolutely, we talk about Gleyber Torres, LeMahieu's been terrible at runners in scoring position. For a guy that was so good in the clutch, his first 2 years with the Yankees, the guy was automatic. Now, LeMahieu, it's not talked about enough. He's batting like 190 with runners in scoring position. A soft little ground ball to second. And Rizzo's got to retreat back to first and getting a rundown. Because what happened was he gets tagged out and they get LeMahieu out at first, and so double play, no run scores. At least if Rizzo can go back, they get the out at first and the run would have scored, and then they probably get Rizzo out. So just a terrible job again. The LeMahieu-Rizzo combination defensively fucks up in game 3, and then it fucks up here in game 4. So in the 7th, let's see, at this point, Bonda's out, and Greg Weisser comes on. And Greg Weisser does a really good job, pitches a really good 6th and 7th. So that's an encouraging sign for Weisser after he struggled the other night. And then in the 8th, the Yankees get a little bit of traction. Domingo Acevedo, the former Yankee prospect, comes on for Oakland. Benintendi reaches on an error, but Aaron Judge strikes out, and it was, Aaron Judge had a bad game. Struck out 3 times. Stanton pops out, and Rizzo flies out. Then Luke Bard makes his Yankee debut, pitches a 1-2-3 8th, and in the 9th inning, the Yankees go down quietly against A.J. Puck, 1-2-3, and the Yankees split. And it's a pretty bad split as far as I'm concerned. Just is. The Oakland A's have just an awful roster currently, a terrible roster. The Yankees should have run the series, and they did not. So now they go to face the Angels, and it'll be Frankie Montas against Jose Suarez, Jameson Taillon versus Mike Mayers, and then game 3 will be Carrick Cole against Patrick Sandoval. So the Yankees will face a couple of lefties in Suarez and Sandoval. They'll see Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. Like, again, the Angels, they're not very good at all either. But you got to think this will be a more challenging series than Oakland. Oakland, they didn't have fans there for the first 3. There was no Oakland fans there for the first 3 games of the series. So, I would be happy if the Yankees win 2 out of 3. I don't know if they will. Like I said, when we talk after the Angels episode, I hope they win 2 out of 3. I suspect that won't be so easy. The Yankees are just not a very good road team. No way around it. The Yankees are a much better home team than road team, and so we will see what happens. But again, road trip continues. They split at Oakland, and now they will head to Anaheim to face the Angels.